When it comes to working with influencers, the big question is, how do you measure influence? What is the ROI of working with someone in an influential role? And so there are ways to do so. But know that measuring ROI only works if you choose the measurement tactic before launching your influencer campaign. Now, you can't say the goal is to build awareness and then build the campaign around driving awareness and then at the end say, it didn't work because we didn't get any sales from it. If you're looking to drive sales and to convert in that regard, then the strategy and the tactics should have been completely different. So just be mindful of, what do you want to accomplish? That's why I always start out with objective. Always set your measurement tactic before your measurement mark, before you launch your campaign, so that one, the people that you're working with are very clear on what they're trying to do for this partnership and what they're delivering on. And then also when you're looking back and looking to refine, it's more clear as far as what you worked out and what you did, and did that hit the mark that you wanted to hit? And if it didn't, then you can refine. But it's really hard when you don't have any objective and you just want anything to happen. And the things that don't happen, then you're all frustrated because you didn't set those objectives to start. So some things to really keep in mind if you're looking to drive and gather metrics: impressions and reach. Those are really important. So for me personally, when I'm working with brands and the goal and the objective is to drive awareness and build visibility around a certain new product launch, or whether it's a new brand coming to market, impressions and reach is really important. So I'll show you some analytics on the back end that I provide to my clients that you can look for. Also, followers and subscribers. If you want to convert followers, if you want to convert subscribers, the part of the influencer campaign and the action steps might be a giveaway, right? Because depending on who you do that giveaway with, they're driving people to you, or if you have them driving to a landing page to win whatever you're giving away, you might be driving subscribers. So if you want subscribers, implement a strategy and tactics to get subscribers and followers. Don't do it to necessarily get, impressions. Next up, engagement rate. If you are looking for a certain engagement rate on a post, certain number of comments, certain number of likes, I've had brands approach saying like, hey, our budget's kind of dependent upon the amount of likes this receives or the amount of comments. Personally, I think that's a really silly way of going about it. However, that is a metric in KPI, and if that's something that you really want to, that's really important for you for whatever your objective is, then that's important for you. Profile visits. You can have likes, comments, shares, archives, retweets, reposts. So if you're tweeting and you get a lot of retweets, or if on Instagram you can have archives, or you can have a metric that shows how many times this was sent to somebody, or likes and comments. Now these are all very sometimes vague things, like what is the actual effect of a like and comment. But for us as creatives and as influencers on these platforms, those are the tools that we're given to track our engagement. And so for me, I've been doing this for about 4 years now, and I know how a post performs based on the engagement that it gets. And those are some things to consider. Also, the metrics and KPIs can also be related to the content. Was the content quality enough to repurpose as well? So it's not always numbers. Trust and influence is a really hard thing to measure because it doesn't always break down into a like or a comment, right? It's about who saw it and who's in that industry. So for example, think back to what I was telling you about MGP working around wanting to destigmatize the thought that just because you don't source your liquid, it's not quality. Now, the likes and the comments and stuff might be a little bit more important to them, but more importantly, like the people that engage with apartment bartender in the trade and in the industry, that's really important for them. So it might just be the content being distributed on my channel that is the most important, not how many likes or impressions it got. Also, direct sales. So again, if you are looking for actual sales and conversion, if you're a product and it's Black Friday or it's holidays or it's a new product launch that you're putting out, direct sales might be the metric that you're really going for. I'll give you an example of this. So Peter McKinnon is a YouTuber and a creative that I follow, that I personally am influenced by. I follow him because he puts out a lot of educational content geared towards maybe people getting into filmmaking and creating content. I follow him because he's really entertaining, and I follow him because I'm just very visually inspired by what he does. He's very, very good at what he does. And so early on, I bought a new camera, and a bag that I had wasn't able to fit the camera with the lens on it. So every time I would pull my camera out of my bag, then I would have to put the lens on. And every time I wanted to put the camera back in the bag, I had to take the lens off. And it's a big pain in the butt, especially because a lot of the content that I produce is on the go, and I don't have the time to do that. And so he put out a video and he said, hey, this is what I use. We have the same camera, or at the time we did. And so I went and bought the bag that he recommended that day. Now, fast forward about a year or so, there was a brand that approached Peter McKinnon to do a co-branded bag. And so it's Peter McKinnon and Nomadic, and he launched his own bag. So it's like, instead of him going out and buying and recommending these other brands, he's like, you know what? I want to create something that is unique for me, that takes care of the pain points that I want. They ended up raising almost $2.5 million on a crowdfunding platform. And so this is a really good example of what influencer marketing can do in terms of driving direct sales and to cover the cost of production and everything, utilizing this guy's audience. Now, he is at the point of celebrity, or he's a very macro influencer with over 2, 3, 4 million subscribers and million on Instagram. So he has a considerable following. But if you scale that down to someone like myself, I've done product collaborations, and those things work, where if somebody's, for example, looking for that bartender bag, or they want a really cool bag and I recommended that and it's something that I partnered on, those are things that drive sales as well. Here's another example of some different metrics that you can look for. I went to Scotland last year with Hendrick's Gin, and they were launching a new product. So the product that they were launching was the first expression other than their core expression that they had launched in over 20 years. And so the objective was to bring media on site. I was on the influencer and social media side, while the other media were geared towards press and journalists. And so for me, I was able to provide the first look on social media of this new expression. And so some of the metrics in terms of one post that we did were over 2,600 likes, 160 comments, 210 archives, and you can look at this, like over 45,000 impressions. And so these are some stats that you can look from one posting about this new expression that Hendrick's Gin launched to build awareness and visibility around it. It wasn't necessarily direct sales that they're looking for, because it's tough with alcohol to track, did people actually go out and buy it? But from this was really important for them. So this was the metric and the KPI that they were looking for on my end, to see how many people got eyeballs on this new expression that we're launching. Here's another example of some metrics and KPIs to look at. So several years back, I went to Spain with a brand called Liquor 43. So the objective and the challenge was to find and engage a relevant influencer in the bartending and mixologist community to develop compelling content to help reintroduce Liquor 43 brand to bartenders and consumers in the US. Now, if you're not familiar with Liquor 43, it's a liqueur that you buy, and sometimes, at least it was known as, you use a little bit of it and it sits on the shelf and collects dust, right? Because a lot of people don't necessarily know what to do with it unless you're a bartender. And even then, again, in the industry and amongst bartenders, it was kind of looked at as a forgotten thing. However, in Spain, it's huge. So they brought me over from the US, and that's who they were looking to target. So again, taking US into consideration in my location. The solution was to document and share the trip. At the time, I had 35,000 social media followers, and a paid media campaign was executed around the assets that I created. So I did the photo content, did the video content while I was out there, and they took a spend and put it behind that and pushed it out. And so they amplified the content that I created. Again, going back to how do you want to reuse that content? And so some of the results, over 2.69 million in targeted impressions, nearly half a million video views, and 38,990 social media engagements, however they factor that out. So these are some of the things that you factor the results based on what you want to accomplish, and then decide, did that accomplish what you're looking to do? And in this regard, that's a lot of eyeballs in the industry on this brand, and from there they execute on whatever they want to execute on. But in terms of influencer marketing and working with someone like me, this is an amazing case study. So here are just some of the posts throughout the trip documenting the experience. Went to, this is the bottle, went to Pamplona and Cartagena, which is where the distillery is. Watched the running of the bulls in Pamplona. So it was an amazing experience for me on my end to share, and it was just inspiring for me to be there, to be able to produce that content and share that with my audience who might be interested in the travel aspect. What should I make with Liquor 43? So I provided some recipes for people to make, and all in all, packaged this to deliver to my audience, but for the brand, and what they got out of it was to reach the trade industry in the US to reintroduce the spirit. And again, it all comes down to trust. So when you're thinking about influencer marketing, whether it be your objective, whether it be your strategy or the set of actions that you're looking to employ, just keep in mind that trust is really the biggest thing. You're leveraging the trust that someone has with their audience to build trust amongst your own, to build trust in your brand, to build awareness in your brand. But I really feel that trust is the most important thing, because as difficult as it is to build, it's really easy to break. And so think about that as you're approaching the people that you work with, and think about that as you're approaching influencer marketing and considering whether it's for you. You know, I would say consider it for your business, allocate some budget to it, try it. And some of the things to start off with: have your objective, have your strategy, and have your set of tactics to execute on, so that after the campaign, you can look at it and refine it and decide what's next from there.